When you're a beginner trader trying to figure out where to start, it can become overwhelming. Don't worry, I got you covered in this video, and there's a lot of things that you think are important that don't even matter. First off, forget about what you think is important. If you think looking at CNBC, if you think reading articles about the next big company, if you think following someone's alert or someone's idea is gonna make you successful, you need to stop that right now, like immediately. What's important in day trading, now I'm talking day trading, I'm not talking investing, okay? There's a difference. In day trading, this is of course my opinion, what's important is following the momentum, paying attention to what's hot for that day, paying attention to volume, to reaction, to volatility, and what is hot now, and following the action itself. I know I've said that a lot, but I'm trying to emphasize, it's so important. Don't worry about the news. Don't worry about what other people are saying. Don't worry about that, because it can get in your head and make you trade that instead of what's important. The volatility, the volume, the price action, the momentum. I want you to know right now that this is gonna be part of a video series. I'm gonna show you charts. I'm gonna show you how to evaluate a stock, how you should attack it on the long side, meaning you buy something, and on the short side for beginners. So this is definitely for beginners, as well as to good refresh if you're someone who's intermediate or have been trading for some time and just haven't really got it going. The other thing I want you to know is this video is gonna go into in-depth of how you need to think, how you need to see things, how you need to prep yourself to attack the market the right way and be careful, be safe, and manage things properly. It's everything I wish that someone told me before I opened an account and press that buy button, because I lost so much money in like the first couple of trades. I think it was like 6 grand in like 6 minutes. It was dumb when I first started, but I don't want you to do that. And the only thing you need to do is sit back and absorb all this information and smash that like button, because it helps us with the YouTube algorithm, because we do put a lot of work into these videos. Think about max loss. Whatever your account size is, whatever it's going to be, what are you comfortable losing max in one day? Whatever that number is, you need to write that down right now. If it's $100, if it's $1,000, if it's 10,000, hopefully it's not 10,000, hopefully it's not even 1,000. When you're new, it better be max $100, maybe $300, because you're new. You're gonna hit it. You're gonna hit your max loss. So you gotta be comfortable with hitting it not once, but multiple times, because you're going to do it. I need you to know this. You're gonna make mistakes. Be prepared for it. Don't get demoralized with it. Don't beat yourself up by it. Understand, determine your max loss. The next thing, determine your max loss per ticker. This is so important. I want you to think about, okay, my max loss is $100, but if I trade 3 different tickers, and a ticker is SPY, Tesla, it's Disney, it's different companies. That's what that is, especially if you're new. You're probably like, what the hell is a ticker? This is supposed to be for beginners. That's what a ticker is. That being said, if your max loss is $100 for the day, maybe per ticker is $25. So you divide that per ticker. If you risk 1 trade, you can risk 25 bucks, but then you're done for that ticker, or divide it by 2, so you can try 2 times. But you need to start thinking, how do I manage risk? Now you're probably wondering, that's not a lot of money to risk. So I might not make a lot, and that's okay, because I want you to be wondering that, because you've probably seen all these advertisements of people flexing all day, saying you can make a lot of money in a short period of time, and sure, you can, eventually. Way down the road, not right now. Right now, your focus is process over profits. Focus on process. That's all you need to think about. Risk management is key to help you survive long enough so you can eventually thrive. With that being said, you need to start thinking about risk reward. So when you think about risk reward, you need to always think, if I'm gonna risk 1, I need to make 3. If I'm gonna risk 1, I need to make 2. If I risk 1, I need to make 5. You don't want to risk 1 for 1, although if you have a high odds strategy, you can. The challenge with a 1-to-1 ratio, sometimes things can get away from you. You might lose 2 and you only make 1 every once in a while. So you could eventually bleed out. So I really recommend 2 to 1, 3 to 1, something like that. Another important topic is support and resistance. This is so important because these are going to give you key areas to buy from or short from. Shorting just means selling, taking the opposite position, thinking a stock is going to go down. So maybe a stock is way up too high, and if you think it's going to tank, you want to make money on that tank, then you short it on the highs and cover, which means you buy it back on the lows. So understanding support and resistance. Support is a key area on the floor. Resistance is a key area on the ceiling where a stock hasn't breached before. And I'm going to show you a quick clip of what that really looks like. So don't worry, here it is. So the first thing I want to go into is support. If you look at KXIN, which is a stock that was running up on August 6th, you'll see this area right here. This is a support area because when we spiked up, this is a 5-minute chart, and we came back down for just a 5-minute candle, we bounced off this area. And then we continued higher, and then we created a lower high, and then came back and tested it again. And when we tested it for the second time, we showed when we bounced that there's a support here. And then we make, for just a moment here, we make a higher low. So there's definitely support in this area. Now, will it hold? No one ever knows that. But there's an idea here that there's a lot of buyers in this area, so you could use it as risk. With that being said, bounces again, comes down for a 4th time, and then holds again. And then we bring in some volume. This is a good signal. So this is something I'm going to be paying attention to. So support is an area of interest. You can also see, this is why this chart's great, because it shows support on this day, on this pre-market. You can see support right in this area. In fact, this is something that it tries to test. And if we go to the 1 minute, let's go to the 1 minute here. You can see support here again. You can see the same thing. But on the 1 minute here, we see support, and we also see we have buyers all in this area. And people are buying here. So this is a key area where you can potentially buy near with risk reward as long as risk reward is in your favor. So this is support. Now resistance is just the opposite. You'll see that there's a wall right here. Like we couldn't break above here when we shot up, and then we fell down and we had a lower high and then tried to go a little higher, but then came back down. So resistance is a similar idea, but it's on the opposite end. But here's the other thing. You'll see a resistance level right here. And what happens is when it broke through resistance, we went up. And resistance is an area where you want to keep an eye on for different reasons, depending on where you're at in your trade. And depending on what type of trader are you, you could use it to short, meaning if you don't think resistance will break through and people will sell again in this area, then you can short against that area and use it as risk. And then the other way is if it actually spikes up and you longed it down here, meaning you bought some, you could use this area as a target to potentially start selling some profits. Resistance is very similar, and we can look at it here, watch. Just because in this example, resistance didn't hold, this resistance really didn't hold, it just went through. It held for, 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then the 5th time it just went. You could have easily used it, but that's the same thing with support. It held, and then it went. It doesn't mean that it's gonna go in your favor just because it's holding. It could go either way, but it's just areas of interest. You need to understand that. So here, if you look on the 1 minute, let's go to the 5 minute. I think 5 minutes a lot cleaner. We even go to the 10 minute. Let's go to 10 minute. If you look on this 10 minute chart, you'll see that this is an area of interest. We couldn't break through it, came down, test again, couldn't break, came down, and then we finally broke. So this could be a signal for potential long, but at the same time, you gotta think about risk reward. Like risk reward here is not that great, although it ended up being really good. So it's not terrible. It all depends on the type of trader that you are. Everyone trades different, and I can't emphasize that enough, but what we use is key areas on the chart. I mean, some people don't, but I mainly use this, if anything else. And so it's really helped me in my trading. So support and resistance are very key to help you understand where price targets are, as well as where entries could be. Doesn't mean they're the best entries, but could be. And we'll get more into that in a minute. So resistance, let's find another chart real quick. HOOD is a good example of resistance that held. If we look here on the 15-minute chart, this is over 3-4 days right here. You can see we couldn't break through this 60. We actually held it 3-4 times. And then we finally broke through it this next day and flushed. On this day when it spiked, it's a good area of interest. You see the floor support was holding, cracked, and now it becomes resistance. So this is something to keep an eye on. Sometimes support can become resistance. Sometimes resistance can become support, not always, but they're good areas of interest no matter what, because there's a lot of buying or selling in that area. So when this thing spikes all the way up, it's a good area of interest. It's not perfect. Depending if you had a tight stop or not, you might get wicked out, and that happens. But this is an area of interest for me if you want to sell. Like if you bought at support here, you can see there's another support level here. See the support bounces off, hits, bounces off. So if you bought in here, this is a good area to sell into, and maybe not all of it, maybe, depends on your style. And then this is an area to short because now you have a risk reward ratio in your favor. So that's support and resistance. Let's get back to the video. Now you have a better understanding of what support and resistance is. And it's okay if you're like, well, that was too quick. Like, it's okay because this is a multi-part series section. So you're gonna see it again and again when I show you how I look at longs, how I look at shorts. Don't worry, this video is mainly to set your foundation. So don't worry about overstressing about trying to learn it all right now, because it takes time. Now, you're probably wondering, how do I know what to focus on though, right? What stock? I mean, if you say news is important or don't follow people who shout out things, well, how do I find it? It's easy. I'm gonna share a link in the description below of how you can look at the big percent gainers and big percent losers. Those usually have the most volume. That's what's important. Sometimes it could be Tesla. Sometimes it could be a penny stock. Sometimes it could be both. It could be big caps, small caps. It could be all types of stocks. It doesn't matter what it is as long as it has massive volume. And you're probably wondering, well, how do I know what massive volume is? All you need to do is look at the volume on the charts and compare it to previous days. It's very simple, and you'll be able to easily see, wow, this is way more volume than normal. It's easy on the eyes. So don't overcomplicate it. But that's what you need to do. Understand, all you need to look at is big percent gainers. That's it. So now you have a kind of an idea of some of the important things you need to be thinking about. The big percent gainers, remember. Now what I want you to do every day, remember you're new. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to trade. So don't worry about trading. I want you to worry about learning. And so what you're gonna do is every day you're gonna look up those big percent gainers, right? I said big percent losers too, but just focus on the gainers first. You can do the losers next, but I wanted to give you both options. You look at big percent gainers every single day and you take pictures of every single one. And you want to take pictures of the morning and at the end of the day, every single day. And you're probably like, well, what's that gonna do? Wait. I'm gonna get to that. I need you to know you have to trust the process. You have to trust the process. If you're just looking for quick money, go follow those random people who just push services all day and say, you can learn it so easy and make money really quickly. And then you'll come back and be like, yeah, that doesn't work. Trust me, I tried it and lost a ton of money that way. It wasn't until I followed a process that I was able to find consistency. Now you're taking pictures of every chart, right? I want you to also understand something. You need to understand what a plan is. A plan has an entry, an exit, and a signal, and a reason, big picture of why you're even looking at this stock. And I'm gonna go into more detail, specifically on the next videos of a long strategy and a short strategy so you can understand this very clearly. But I want you to understand what a plan is, and it's not, oh, I'm gonna buy something because it's hot and that's it. You need to know why you're buying it, where you're buying it, where you're gonna exit when you're wrong and when you're right. And you're gonna wanna write a plan down every single time before you place a trade. Now, the reason I bring up a plan is because when you're taking pictures of every chart, after a while, let's say a week of doing this, you're gonna start to be like, okay, I'm tired of taking pictures. What's the point of this? You're gonna have a week's worth of charts. You may have 3 one day, 5 the next day, 1 the next day, but you're gonna have plenty of charts to look at. And what I want you to do is look at every single one of them from the morning, afternoon, and just keep doing that. And guess what? Guess what we're great at? And when I say we, I mean everyone in the world. We are good at picking up patterns. We are good at recognizing, I've seen this before. We are good at when we buy the brand new Tesla that we recognize that everyone has a Tesla. We are good that when we are interested and getting a brand new hat that we start to recognize all these people wearing hats. Like, we recognize things. We pick up things that we are interested in learning. We pick up things that are common. And when you look at charts over and over, you're gonna start to pick up things that happen often. Now, here's what you're gonna do next. You're gonna go ahead and start writing down ideas. Now, you're not gonna know what the hell an idea really is because you're new. The next video series, you're gonna learn more specifics, but all I care about right now is I want you to write down what you think is gonna happen. Make it simple, don't overcomplicate it, because you're not trading yet. Just write down, I think this could happen then at the end of the day. Because what you're gonna do is every day you're still gonna look at big percent gainers, but now you have history. And now you've seen what they've done in the morning to the afternoon. And now you can kind of guesstimate. You're not making bets, you're not trading, you're writing ideas, or in other words, a thesis. And all I want you to do is, if you see a stock in the big percent gainers, and you're like, I believe the stock's gonna close higher tomorrow. I believe the stock is gonna close higher at the end of the day, or lower at the end of the day. Or if you wanna get a little bit more specific, I think it may hold this low and never break below it, or something like that, because you're gonna learn support and resistance. Remember, those are important, those are key levels. Don't worry, we're gonna get in more detail in the next video on that. That's all I want you to do, because then at the end of every day, you're gonna look at your thesis and you're gonna see if you're right. You're gonna see if you're wrong. And then you're gonna start learning. You're gonna start gathering information. And then you start questioning, why was I right here? Is there anything on these charts that I'm right on that are similar? Is there anything on these charts that I'm wrong on that are similar? And you'll start to see indications of what leads towards a stock tanking or a stock rising. And you can look at news after the fact if you want, but I really want you to understand, when you're day trading in the day, the news is not gonna make a stock do something. It's gonna make it move, but you'll see many times great news and stocks tank. Great news and stocks rise. Bad news and stocks rise. Bad news and stocks tank. Like, you don't know what the news is gonna make it do. All you know is it's gonna make a reaction. So make sure you're taking pictures of all those. Now, once you understand, while you're doing this every single day. And I also want you to read these 3 books. There's a lot of other books that I'm having a link below in the description that I love, that really helped me in trading. But these 3 are really key. Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas, Technical Analysis, and Volume Price Analysis. Those links are below. Make sure to read those. You can either buy them, maybe you can find them somewhere, I don't know, but you need to get your hands on them and start reading them as soon as you're done with this video. Buy them, get them, read them, and start absorbing. And understand, don't rush the process. Do not rush it. Focus on it. Slow down. Because I've met so many traders through my show where they've rushed it and it's taken them 10 years to be successful. And then the ones who don't rush it and they focus on process, they nail it in like a couple of years. Maybe sometimes it's rare, a year or less. It's very far few in between, but all I need you to know, focus on process, stay tuned to the next videos, and click that like button, and thanks.